question, like do you anticipate being able to play next week? Do you know that yet?
I don't think it's for certain by any means. Still some things I need to go through. Still some things I need to see how I recover and practice consistent days in a row. Obviously, it's not something where it's just, okay, Zach, go play. I got to earn the trust of my teammates, the coaches. I don't expect them to just plug me in there and say, this is the Zach for the past 10 years. He's going to be the same in year 11. I look forward to proving myself each and every day. And whether that's game 1, game 3, whenever I'm out there, I expect to be a difference maker. And so that decision, I have a part to play in it, but it's also a lot of people coming together and making the decision as a group.
Is it going to be a game time decision, or do you think you'll know going into the weekend here?
I honestly don't know. I can't tell you as of now. I would like to anticipate knowing, but at the same time, I'm not going to put a hard, fast line saying I need to know by this date in order to play on Sunday. So for me, I just take it every day, one day at a time, get better, and that's all I'm focused on.
For those of us who don't know, like, once you're cleared from the pup list, what goes into, like, just how many weeks, what goes into getting cleared to actually play in the game after that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when you're off pup, it's more you can start practicing with the team. When you're on pup, everything is on the side. I couldn't even throw it with Kyler because even though we're both on pup, you're not allowed to do any football activity essentially that they could view it as practice or anything. So I'm essentially on the side doing everything by myself. When you're activated off pup, you can start integrating team stuff, walkthrough stuff, and you have to control it how the people in the performance staff want to control it, whether it be a rep count, whether they want it to be limited early on and no contact. Obviously, it's not just throw you into the deep end and see how you swim. You got to see it. Everything is a gradual process in terms of this rehab. It's the toughest thing I've ever gone through as a football player, but I'm excited for where I'm at.
Give us a sense of just how challenging it was to rehabilitate this injury. Even 10 years ago, it seems like coming back at this point would be almost unheard of. How have you been able to get yourself back?
Yes, obviously. Down the road, I'd love to go deeper into exactly everything that I went through, but right now it's just all about every day from the very beginning. There's highs and lows. It was a roller coaster, and all you can focus on is putting one foot in front of another. Waking up every day with the mindset that, yeah, yesterday might have been tough, but it can't impact how you feel about today. You can never start questioning or have doubt, because when you do that, it gets very lonely. For me, I've been blessed with a great support staff. With Buddy Morris as the strength coach, I had a great PT. And obviously my family, my wife and son were with me, encouraging me each and every step of the way. And I had a knee injury, and I was hoping to get back in a year. My wife had a baby, and she got back in a year. So it was a little motivation for me, seeing her doing what she does each and every day, playing in the World Cup. I didn't really have anything to complain about.
How do you feel? How does it feel?
Yeah, I feel great. When I'm out there, I don't think about it at all. And I think that's a very important step, is not thinking about the knee when you're out there playing, because if you're thinking about that, you're a step behind. So for me right now, I'm happy with where I'm at, but there's still a few hurdles I need to get over.
We talked about with Josh Dobbs coming in and trying to assimilate himself to what you guys are doing. What's that like for the rest of you guys, trying to assimilate yourselves to a new quarterback that you haven't seen all offseason?
I mean, I think for me, it's always been create as much separation as possible, make the quarterback's jobs as easy as possible. And if I can get separation, I feel like we'll be able to be on the same page fairly quickly. I think Kyler and I were able to get on the same page fairly quickly, because that's what I've been priding myself on for a long time. And then if I can get open, it's about speaking the same language with the quarterback. What does he anticipate me doing against certain looks? There's a lot of communication on the side that takes place in between reps. How does he want routes versus certain coverages? Because at the end of the day, I see one thing, but it's really irrelevant how I see things. I have a small percentage of say. All that matters is what the quarterback sees, and I feel like if you can play on the quarterback's timing, if you can be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there, you got to make his job easy, because he's got 10 other people to worry about, where I just worry about myself most of the time in terms of getting open or blocking this guy. They got to make sure 11 guys are going in the same direction. So for me, I try and make the job easier for the quarterback, be as open as I possibly can, over-communicate. Obviously, if he is the guy, we're trying to do everything in a condensed amount of time. But at the same time, he's a veteran. He's played in a lot of offenses. He's had some success in this league. So I'm excited to continue to work with him.
Sort of an offbeat question, but you're a Stanford guy. What do you think about the demise of the Pac-12?
Yeah, sad, obviously. Stanford's in an extremely difficult spot. You'd think 10 years ago, I don't know if they would be the last team standing in this thing. But at the same time, it's kind of just the way college football is going, and it's sad that two of the best educational universities in the country are kind of flapping in the wind. There's obviously football is a key component of a lot of revenue, but at the same time, you can't just ignore the other sports that are going to have to, if Stanford does end up in the ACC, traveling 40,000 miles while still maintaining the goal of getting a great education from Stanford or Cal. And you don't go to those universities to do online classes either. You go to be around amazing individuals, amazing students and peers, and learn from the best professors in the country. So yeah, you can say you can take online classes, but you're shortening the educational experience at those schools. So it may work at some schools, but I would have hated to go to do online classes for a couple weeks at Stanford because you're missing out on so much.
Zach, in your limited time around Josh, just what has been your impression of him so far?
Yeah, he's smart, obviously. I think that's well noted. He's an astronaut or whatever he is. But he's a guy that understands football. He's played a lot of football. He's got a really good grasp of this offense. Obviously, he's played in it in the past. So him coming into the huddle, calling the plays, calling the formations has been seamless so far. And he throws a very catchable ball, which as a receiver you like.
Is there a benefit to being on the pup list with Kyler in the training room, rehabilitating next to him, that grew your understanding of him and him of you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Kyler's one of my friends on the team, obviously, and being able to be going through not the same injury, but similar injuries and being able to be in each other's corner. Obviously, I was a little ahead of him just based on injury timeline and when I got surgery and when I got injured. So it was good to see him, obviously, learn a lot about each other during that time. You see a lot of people at their best and a lot of times at their worst. So it's just about being there for each other. Obviously, I care about him as a football player, but when you're going through something so difficult as we've been going through, the relationship is much deeper than just about football. So I wish we could have done the NFL rules kind of prohibit you from throwing routes and running routes, which is crazy to me because you're trying to get better as a football player as you go through this thing. But it was definitely good to have someone kind of going through it at the same time. I didn't wish it upon him, obviously, but at the same time, it was nice to have someone doing it with me.
Zach, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. I figured.
Thank you. Yeah, glad to be here. Good to be in the sun. It was nice and hot at practice, which was fun. Getting acclimated and getting out here first time practicing with the guys, so really enjoyed being out here in Arizona and enjoyed playing the game.
What are your expectations coming in here?
You know, obviously it's a whirlwind logistically, but football side to come in and compete. You know, just watching them from afar and then having familiar faces with Drew as the OC and Izzy as the QB coach. It's great to come in, compete, be a part of the QB room one, and then the team second. Well, the team first, and then the QB room, and help the team win however I can.
Would you say they put starter expectations on?
You know, I would say for myself, every time I step in the building, I put starting expectations on myself. So I know the QB situation is going to play out however the coaches see fit. But for me, you know, I come in ready to compete every single day. I push myself, but also, you know, approach the room in that way. And so I'm excited to be a part of it and be a part of the team.
We see on your TikTok, you already dived into the playbook. Is it the same that you remember, or is there a bunch of new stuff?
Yeah, you know, I would say to that, obviously there's similar schemes to Cleveland, knowing Drew and Izzy came from there, but every coach has their own nuances and spins that they like to put on the playbook, as well as, you know, combining stuff that has been here and stuff that the players here have done well for a long time. So even though it might be similar terminology, every playbook has its own different spin to it. So especially coming in and at the QB position, you know, whenever you're out there, you have to run the show, right? In and out of the huddle, at the line of scrimmage, communication with all the guys, and so that looks different when different guys are in there. So just getting up to speed as quickly as possible, that's what I've been diving into, not only on the field, but in my free time, and I'm enjoying it.
How does playing for Drew last year kind of give you a running start here?
Yeah, you know, it gives you a running start from what I shared, that there are a lot of similarities and crossover in the offense. I will say there's a ton of differences as well. But I would say the familiarity with the coach. You know, I spent a lot of time with Drew last year, as he was my QB coach in Cleveland. And so coming into that offense, learning that offense from him, and now coming here and getting his own spin and variation is very unique, especially with the relationship that we had, as well as Izzy was in that room as well. So it's good to have that relationship, especially quarterback to play caller, right, and understanding why he's calling plays, why he's installing plays, what variation he's put on the offense and why he's doing that. And so it makes it as smooth as a transition as it can be, but there always are different bumps in the road that you have to manage and navigate.
What do you think when you got traded?
I was excited. I will say, you know, leaving practice, I wasn't aware of, you know, anything was going to happen in Cleveland. But once I called, got the call from AB in Cleveland, and then got a chance to talk to Monty, who was at Tennessee with me last year, in another crazy turn of events. But with Tennessee with me last year, and then, you know, already being familiar with Drew and Izzy, had talked to them as well in the off season. So I was really excited to get out here.
Were you close to coming here in the offseason, you think?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I definitely was. You know, it was between Cleveland and here, really. And, you know, having the familiarity in Cleveland may have tipped the scale a little bit in that decision, but I was still really excited about the opportunity to come to Arizona. And, you know, at times in that decision-making, thought I would have been here. So everything works out for a reason, right? So we're here now, and there's a wonderful opportunity to go out, tomorrow at practice with the team and leading up to the season, right, next week. And so I'm embracing it full steam ahead and excited about it.
What's it like coming into a new team, new locker room, and potentially being the starter without having taken any kind of live reps with these guys and having a week to get ready and get on the same page?
Yeah, you know, I would say it's a unique process every time it happens. You know, ironically, it's happened twice for me in the last 5 months. But it's a unique process. The quickest thing, you know, you can do is get the logistics of the offense, right? Understand the play calls, get in and out of the huddle, learn your teammates' names and faces, communicate with them, and then just be yourself, right? We all play professional football. You know, we all spend a lot of time on our craft here in the complex. And, you know, what I've learned the most is guys respect guys that are authentic in themselves. And so that's who I am. That's how I am. That's how I approach this opportunity at the podium or in front of my teammates or on the field. And so, yeah, just to be able to go in and lead them, help contribute to this team in whatever my role may be, I'm really excited about it.
So doesn't being a rocket scientist help you be a quarterback?
It does. So I had a media guy one time when I was coming out of school. He tried to say, like, being a rocket scientist doesn't help. Like, too smart to play quarterback. I'm like, playing quarterback's the most cerebral position in all of sports. So it definitely helps, especially study habits, processing information. But, there's, I would say, like, a lot of people are like, hey, the physics of engineering, does it help play football? No. But, the thought process, right? Like, playing quarterback is a cerebral position, as we all know, but it's the ultimate problem solver position. You're each time you're tasked 40 seconds. You get 40 seconds, and defense is throwing different curveballs at you, from pressures to fronts to coverages. And you have a play, and you got to get your team in the best play possible, whether it's the play called or get to a different play and go out and execute that play and then repeat process the next time. So you learn that same thought process in engineering in school. Like, they give you a ton of homework, a ton of problems where you got to go and repeat it. Obviously, you're not on a 40-second time clock, but the thought process is the same. So, being able to push my brain, especially learning new offense per se, even though it's similar, in a short period of time, and go out and compete and play at a high level. I put that expectation on myself, and definitely having banked reps doing it definitely helped make the transition smoother.
Has it been hard to kind of move from organization to organization? I mean, obviously you come out, I'm sure every player comes out with a certain thought of how they want their career to go. How have you kind of handled all that? And
yeah. No, I think that's a great question. I think I take it in stride. I've learned in this league, man, you got to take things one day at a time. You got to put your best foot forward every single day. Always grow and improve and be the best teammate you can be, whether you're, in Cleveland one day and then in Arizona the next day. That doesn't change the teammate that you are, doesn't change the player that you are, doesn't change your confidence in yourself. And so, thankfully for me, it's always been opportunities to go out and grow in my role and have more opportunity. And so that's what I've always been excited about. Of course, the logistics of waking up in Cleveland one day and then moving to Arizona can be difficult, but that's why they got movers. They got people to handle all that stuff for you. And so just being focused and locked in the facility, right, and just trying to be the best quarterback I can be the best Josh Dobbs I can be, contribute, help my teammates grow as players. That's always my mindset, and it starts there. And so, yeah, of course, when you're growing up, you may think, the fairy tale career is to go play like Ben Roethlisberger. I was in Pittsburgh with him for 5 years. You may think the fairy tale career is to go there and play somewhere for 17 seasons. And but when you really look around the league, that's like very minuscule. That barely happens. And so everyone's journey looks different, right? Everyone's journey to where they want to go looks different. And so I'm embracing mine. I embrace my role every step of the way and put my best foot forward every time I come to work.
What are your first impressions of your playmakers? What's your first impression?
Man, they're fast. We got a lot of speed out there. It's good to get Zach Ertz out there. He's looking healthy. First time throwing with him over the last couple of days. We got Hollywood outside. So it's been good getting acquainted with the weapons. I know James Conner from my time in Pittsburgh. So it's been good to have a familiar face in the backfield. So it's been good learning them, learning the routes that they're really good at, where we want to put them on the field, how can they excel in their skill set. And then as my job is to get the ball in the playmaker's hands. And so understanding how I can do that as efficiently as possible. So that'll be the process throughout the rest of this week, next week, leading up to the first game. And we'll be able to get a ton of reps before the first game next week.
Without a preseason game with this team, what, just being put right into practice, what is practice like, and just learning names, faces, and the ball?
I would say you learn a lot of names on the fly. Especially, we spend a lot of time in the QB room and stuff. And so, you learn a ton of names on the fly. I think today in the huddle, I learned Hayden center. And he came up to me at working out. He goes, Hayden, I know we worked together today. You took some snaps for me, but my name's Hayden. And so there'll be some of that, but we'll have fun with it. As you guys know, there's a lot of turnover in the NFL in general. Not only like this week, as we all know what this week is, but in the off season, year to year, week to week even. So learning new teammates, meeting new people is a part of the game, a part of the profession. And so I'm looking forward to it. I haven't met everyone yet. I probably met them in passing, but my goal is to meet everyone obviously very quickly and know my teammates, because that's a big part of being a quarterback on the team. It's part of the position, being a leader on the team, to know your teammates and be able to motivate them. So I would say 1B goal is learn all your teammates, right? So diving into that as well.
How do you
process before. What was the biggest hurdle, and what do you see as the biggest hurdle right now?
Man, the biggest hurdle, I'll be honest, like, when you get in the complex as football, sometimes the biggest hurdle is, where am I going to eat when I go home? You think it's another thought process that you have to go through. When you're in a city for a long period of time, you're like, I got my Wednesday food spot, I got my Thursday food spot. So sometimes that's like the biggest hurdle. You come in, the X's and O's are part of it, the logistics are part of it, and you learn them in stride. It's sometimes, the stuff that outside the facility that you want to get that all under wraps. So when you're in here, I know I gave the food analogy, but there's other stuff, obviously. But when you're in the complex, you're able to focus on, what's most important and going out and win ball games.
I'm just curious, how close did you come to coming to ASU?
So that was the first thing I thought. I was like, as fate would have it, I had to get to Arizona somehow. So for those of you who don't know, I was committed to Arizona State for 8 months. And this was back when signing days were in February. So I had the cliche story of decommitting the day before signing day and going to Tennessee, which definitely was hurtful to ASU faithful. But it's good to be out here now. I was very close. Coach Norvell was the OC at that time, and I really was looking forward to playing for him. We spent a lot of time together throughout the recruitment process. When I ended up going on my official visit to Tennessee, and I just really loved it. It was obviously geographically closer to home, being from Alpharetta, Georgia, and I had the opportunity to play a little earlier in my career at University of Tennessee than ASU. But they both had tremendous aerospace engineering programs, which was really important to me. So I was really close. But we made it out here now, so it all comes full circle.
You still plan to work in aeronautical engineering? What's the plan after football?
Yeah, down the road. I would say it's been really cool developing a relationship with NASA in Florida. They have one in Cleveland, as well as working with different companies like Cirrus Aircraft. They're out of Knoxville. They have one out here, Scottsdale. So yeah, that's I would say a goal down the road. I've been able to create amazing connections in that field, the engineering world. But yeah, I'll focus on ball now, and then when that day comes, we'll make the most of the opportunity.
Using social media, TikTok specifically, to kind of document this, why do you think it's so important as a player to showcase what this journey really is like?
Yeah, I think it's just, I think it's important just to be organic and show people, what it's like being a professional athlete. I think obviously we have a ton of TV shows about our lives, and some are accurate, some aren't so accurate. So, being teammates with Isaac Rochelle last year, him and his wife, they do a great job of documenting the ins and outs of the profession. And so for myself as well, just being able to document my journey, I think it's really cool, not only to show it to fans and people that are interested, right? Like, this is what it looks like when you get traded. You get called at noon, and they tell you to get to a flight at 2:30, and you got to pack a bag. You don't know when you're going home. I think just being that organic, fans love it. But also for me, just to be able to look back down the road and just see my journey, see the ups and downs, the different parts of the journey, the different nuances, and just remind myself that, like, every Sunday I wake up, this is my dream. Your dream goal when you start playing football, when you're 5 years old, that's how it was for me, or whenever you start, you always want to play at the highest level. And so, as I said earlier, everyone's journey may look different as they get their opportunity to go out and play football at the professional level. But no matter how different that journey may look, it's all of our dreams and goals, especially for me. And so, never to take those opportunities for granted.
Have you had any interaction with Kyler Murray?
I have, yeah. So we've been in the QB room and out at practice. It's been good to be able to pick his brain, just being around the guys. As well, it's been really cool seeing him going on the side and getting his reps in after practice. So it was like one of the first guys I saw. I got here when you get traded. The first day in the city's early morning. You got to do all the logistical stuff. So you're up at like 5:45 a.m. I think it was a Sunday, and so I ended up getting to the facility like 6:30. He was already in here, rehabbing and getting prepared for his day. So it was good to pick his brain then, and he's been around the team. And so, I know we'll continue to build a rapport during my time here, and it's all part of getting to know your teammates.
For the weekend, do you stay around? Do you go back and like pack up everything else? Like, what are you gonna do?
I'm figuring that out too. so that's what this afternoon. There's a ton of different variables. My mom's birthday's tomorrow, so maybe go see mom, hang out with her, decompress before the start of the season, as well as figure out, when I'm going to do all my stuff in Cleveland. So your guess is as best as mine. We'll figure it out in the next couple hours.
Josh, the two starts you got in Tennessee, how did that that opportunity kind of help prepare you where you are and where you might go here?
I think that they were integral, I would say, to this opportunity. Get a chance to meet Monty and for him to see what I can do, given that opportunity, as well as for me, first time, starting in the league. I've seen a ton of football. I've watched, obviously, a lot of guys, especially Big Ben, do it at a high level. But to get out there in the game, and now it's you, in that position, man, it was a tremendous experience, opportunity. I played well, but I learned a lot. I learned how I can play better. And I think a lot of things I did well in that experience, but things I can learn from that experience will only help me in this opportunity. So I enjoyed my time. I enjoyed that opportunity and thankful for it. And it'll continue to propel me throughout this upcoming season.
If you end up starting in Washington, what's the journey been like, a week been like to start week one, day one?
Yeah, you definitely learn the ultimate level of patience. I always give the analogy, when you're not the starting quarterback, you always have to prepare because you never know when you're going to get your opportunity. It's like in school, you have a math test every Friday, and you just never know where you're going to take it. So every week you prepare, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you go to sleep with the little butterflies. I got a huge math test tomorrow. You wake up, you don't take the test, and you repeat the same process the next week. So I've been doing that process for a long time, quite frankly. So it's been a journey. I've learned a lot about myself. I learned a ton of football, but I also learned the ultimate level of patience and, everything I've been harping on of that you really just have to buy into embracing the journey and taking it one day at a time. You never know how quickly your opportunities might change. You never know when that opportunity you've been preparing so hard for might come. But you'd be remiss if you weren't ready for it. And I think so many times people look ahead to those opportunities and forget to focus on the process and the journey and the work that it takes to prepare for those opportunities. And that's what I've learned to do. So if that is the case, I've put in a ton of work. I have a ton of sweat equity, and I'm extremely prepared for the opportunity. But that doesn't mean I'm ever complacent. I'm using every hour, every minute of the day to always turn over the next stone to continue to prepare for that opportunity, whatever opportunities come after it.
Thanks, Josh.
Awesome. Thank you all.
Oh, yeah, I know.